Hello, everyone. Today we are going to cover Conversation and Guidance, which is Chapter 13 in our text. The idea that guidance is a context for learning is very powerful. Children, as we know, are eager to explore their world, and included in that is exploring relationships with other people. Making friends, keeping friends, and joining others in play are all important pieces of social development that can be guided and supported through conversation. As we talk and interact with young children in moments of conflict, we help them learn how to make and keep friends. When we are thinking about ways in which to guide infants and toddlers in making friends and keeping friends, it's important to remember that this process isn't always peaches and cream, and often can be tricky and confusing. It can feel overwhelming at times for both the child and the caregiver, but it is also an amazing opportunity for the child to learn and understand appropriate behaviors and interactions, as well as expectations. In these moments, it's helpful to have strategies to use that support the respectful guidance of infants and toddlers. It's also important to note where they are developmentally. Children birth to 5 are highly aware of others' expressions, gestures, and intentions. They're still working on mastering communication. They're becoming independent and wanting to do things on their own, and they are so curious about the world around them. Some examples of approaches that are common but not as effective and should be avoided are punishment, chastising, and not clearly sending the message of no. With punishment, think about what the message is being sent to the child. For one, they're learning unacceptable behavior, and 2, they have no idea why their behavior was wrong in the first place or how to correct it. The only thing they know is that the adult is mad and that they are in trouble. What might a child learn through chastising? When an adult says things like, "You know better than that, you better start minding. I told you yesterday not to do that. Next thing you know, you'll be on a timeout." There's no message of what not to do, and there are no other options of what is appropriate. The language is wordy, and the child may tune out. Some people advise to never use no with children. There is an art to sending the message of no without using the word no. It can be done, but if the goal is simply to not say no, then the teaching moment can easily be lost. In this example, the adult is simply trying to avoid using no. The example is, a toddler climbs up on a counter, and in response, the adult says, "Your feet need to be on the floor." What is the problem in this example? Again, the child isn't told what they may or may not do, and it could be confusing without the understanding of why. The goal is to provide guidance in a respectful way that supports the infant in navigating their social world. This can be done by helping them make sense of limits and acceptable behaviors through clear and simple conversation. The 3 strategies we will go over today are acknowledging feelings, limits and redirection, and limited choice. Situations that may require the use of these strategies are frequent for infants and toddlers and are part of the learning process. Acknowledging feelings is a strategy that can be used when the child has an overwhelming emotion. You can simply acknowledge the emotion, reflect back, and restate what you think the child is feeling. The act of acknowledging how the child is feeling and just simply validating their emotions can help them feel understood and even self-regulate. The goal here is not to judge their emotion, but instead simply acknowledge. It can really take some practice to feel comfortable doing this. The statement of, "You are sad because your mom left," is acknowledging and renaming the child's feeling. "Looks like you want the toy that she is using," is also acknowledging and naming the child's desire. I'm going to read you a scenario, and I would like you to think about how you could acknowledge. Just acknowledge. Don't worry about solving the problem. 2-year-old Annabelle reaches for the stuffed dog held by Anthony. Anthony wraps both of his arms around the toy so that Annabelle cannot get it. Annabelle then reaches to pull Anthony's hair. How could you use conversation as guidance to acknowledge Annabelle's emotions? Limit and redirection can be used when a child has done something that is unacceptable. Situations involving hurting themselves, others, or things that people value call for clear limits and positive redirection. Steps to setting clear limits and redirection for both infants and toddlers are: acknowledge the child's feelings or desires, tell them what they may or may not do, explain what they may do instead, provide a brief reason why. Here's an example for an infant. You're interested in him, aren't you? No biting. Biting hurts. Gently touch him, gently. This statement acknowledges the child's feelings, tells them what they may not do and why, and ends with explaining what they may do instead. Here's an example for a toddler. Looks like you are angry with him, but you may not hit him. Hitting hurts. If you want the truck, ask him, "May I have the truck, please?" Again, this acknowledging the child's feelings and wishes, telling them what they may not do and why, and telling them what they may do instead. Effective limits and redirection are clear, concise, consistent, and few. The essential rules are: you may not hurt yourself, others, and things that people value. Going back to the previous scenario, which I'll read again, think about how you could limit and redirect by acknowledging the child's feelings or desires, telling them what they may or may not do, providing a brief reason why, and explaining what they may do instead. 2-year-old Annabelle reaches for the stuffed dog held by Anthony. Anthony wraps both of his arms around the toy so that Annabelle cannot get it. Annabelle quickly reaches out and pulls Anthony's hair. How would you limit and redirect in this situation? Limited choice should be used when you need a child to mind you, but you expect they will resist. An example of this is: I know you want to keep playing with the toy, but it's time to pick them up and put them away. Do you want to pick up the cars or the blocks? You decide. Steps to limited choice are acknowledging the child's feelings or intention, clearly stating what you expect the child to do and why, and then offering the child 2 equally acceptable ways to do this. This strategy can be used when there's a task to be done and a child doesn't want to do it, as in the previous example. Another example is when it's time to go and the child wants to stay. Providing a limited choice in this situation could go like this: I know you want to stay at Grandma's, but it's time to go get in the car. It's late. Do you want to walk to the car by yourself, or do you want to hold my hand? You decide. Both of the examples of limited choice acknowledge the child's feelings, clearly state the expectation and why, and provide acceptable options to follow through. Limited choice works with children's natural desire for autonomy and gives them control over their decision within limits that are acceptable. What would you say to offer limited choice in the following scenario? Lunch is ready to be served inside the classroom. The children are busy playing outside in the play yard. You usher them inside, but Peyton refuses to come. Again, how would you offer limited choice? As the adult and caregiver, children are constantly looking to us for guidance. By modeling acceptable behaviors and using conversation as guidance, we can help them learn and understand their feelings as well as the feelings of others. We can support children in learning and understanding relationships and friendships, and by using the strategies covered today, we share with them how to navigate their social world in a positive, productive way. I would like to leave you with a reflection. How could you construct a plan for emotionally supportive daily routines and interactions? Here's an example of a starting question for a planning web. What might we say or do to help a child cope with the anger of not getting what he or she wants when he or she wants it?